What do we got here?
Got a 1833 Whitney flintlock musket gun.
I really love this. I mean, this is way pre-Civil War. These are really cool.
Quit drilling on the gun.
Came to the pawn shop today to sell my 1833 Whitney musket gun. It doesn't shoot. It has no use for me. I'm looking to get about $2 for it. Lease I'll probably take is maybe about 800 bucks.
These were designed by Eli Whitney Company. Eli Whitney, inventor of the cotton gin, okay? The cotton gin was one of the most important devices of the early 19th century. It separated the seed from the cotton. Since they were able to make cotton products a lot cheaper, there was a bigger demand for cotton. But unfortunately, that led to a huge increase in the amount of slave labor in the southern United States.
Eli Whitney was a pretty amazing inventor. Everyone knows he invented the cotton gin. But since the cotton gin had such a strong impact on society, people forget he invented other things, like this gun.
So where did you get this?
I do a lot of trading and selling, and this came with one of my trades that I did. Then I saw 1833 on it.
Really cool old gun, but it's not a flintlock.
Okay.
Well, sort of. Originally, it was a flintlock, and then it was converted to a percussion cap. That side plate there was originally for a flintlock. There used to be a hole in the barrel right there. So when they converted these, they closed that hole, and they put that on right there, and that's what the cap would fit on.
Okay.
The difference between a flintlock and a percussion cap is a flintlock is that thing you saw in pirate movies where you pulled the hammer back, and when you fired the trigger, it shoots sparks to the powder. The powder would light up, then it would send a flame that would ignite the gunpowder and shoot the bullet out. Well, that whole process took like a second, so it's really hard to aim at a moving target with an old flintlock.
Okay.
Cap and ball was like the next step in technology. You just pulled a cap out of your pocket, and it just fit right on top of this, pulled the trigger, fired it, and it flew a flash straight down there, and the other end came the bullet.
Do you think that the barrel's been cut now?
Yeah, I mean, the way this stock looks, it looks like this gun was cut down. Most war rifles back then were really long. Something that fits in a holster on a horse is a lot more practical. So guys would cut them down.
This gun is pretty cool. You just don't see a lot of muskets made by Eli Whitney. And that alone could get collectors interested. But I need to know what's been done to it before I can make an offer.
What do you want to do with it?
I'm actually wanting to sell it.
How much do you want for it?
I'm actually looking for $2,000.
Whitneys are sort of rare, but I really don't know the price. So let me get someone in here to take a look at this thing. Maybe we can do something.
Sounds good.
All right, I'll be right back.
I like my guns that are automatic, so I'm pretty glad that I'm not back from that era in this point in time.
Hello.
Joe, how's it going?
I own a gun store in Fillmore, Utah. We specialize in guns of all kinds, and I come down and help them out whenever I can on guns that they have questions with. This being an Eli Whitney, it is indeed a piece of history. These came out right at the end of flintlocks. They were military contract muskets. This has been converted to a percussion, obviously. Eli Whitney was probably credited with making parts that interchange. Just was a big, huge thing back in those days. The soldier in the field, if they had a problem with their gun, they could go and get a part and fix it their own self. What are your concerns with this rifle, Rick?
I want to know if it's been chopped.
Well, these guns were originally made with a 42-inch barrel. Yeah, 30 inches, so it's had a foot cut off.
So the whole bayonet lug, the whole end piece is missing.
It's all gone. After the wartime, to make them handier and easier to use, they'd just hack them off.
So what's something like this worth?
Well, a really nice original gun in flintlock hadn't been converted. You could be talking $2,000 or $3,000. The flintlock guns converted to percussion. In this condition, it's going to be real lucky to bring $400 or $500 retail price.
Wow. I thought it'd be worth a little bit more, just even the name of the gun.
It is still a collectible gun, but the condition is not very good on it. I wouldn't think Rick would want to pay very much money for it.
Thanks, Joe. Really appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Now the wheeling and dealing starts. Can you go 500 bucks?
No.
No, I mean,
Not
it's...
only no, hell no.
I'm thinking like 150 bucks. I mean, all this thing is a piece of decoration now. I mean...
It's interchangeable parts, and how about 200?
It doesn't even work. I can't even fire it. You can take the 150 bucks or take it home.
I'll take it.
All right.
I was kind of mad that they couldn't give me what I was asking for, but I'm still going home with something.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
What can I help you with today?
I got a coin that I've had since I was a kid.
Okay.
Trying to see what it's worth.
Okay.
It's not a real coin, it's like a commemorative coin for George Washington's funeral procession.
Okay. He is in glory, the world is in tears. When I die, it's probably going to say, he is in tears, the world is in glory.
I decided to come to the pawn shop today to try to sell a commemorative coin that I have from George Washington's funeral. I've had it for 30+ years. It's been sitting in storage, doing nothing, and I'd love to get $200-300 for it if I could. And hopefully we'll make that happen.
Where in the world did you get this?
I was a kid, I used to collect coins, and my dad took me down to one of the shows in New York City and picked that up.
Let me see here. It's George Washington on one side, surrounded by laurels. On the other side is the date of his death right here, December 14th, 1799, and a big urn with GW on it.
Washington's death had a huge impact on this country, and even throughout the world, people paid their respects. In fact, Napoleon ordered 10 days of mourning throughout France.
Too bad someone drilled a hole in it. You didn't put this hole in there, did you?
No.
What's this, huh?
Don't finger it up too much.
Ricky, just shut the hell up. It's not that old, son, because I believe that's made out of aluminum. Back when George Washington was alive, aluminum was a very, very expensive metal. They didn't use it.
No, I'm pretty sure this is old, Pops.
I don't think so, Rick.
Well, to you, it's not that old. You were probably there.
Watch it. Rick's always a smart ass. If he'd shut up and stop cracking jokes, he might learn something. But no, he thinks he knows everything. I've raised one stubborn mule of a kid. That's not from 1799, son. It looks too good.
It says December 14th, 1799, so I'm assuming it's from 1799.
Ricky, you're talking out of your ass.
Well, let me get it checked out anyway.
well.
Do you mind if I get someone in here to take a look at it?
Okay.
Okay. Let me try and get someone down here. We'll see what we got going on here, and we'll see if we can make a deal. Okay?
Okay, appreciate it.
All right,
Thank
thanks
you.
a lot. This could be an interesting find. Anything George Washington is highly collectible, but I need to know more about it before I can even begin to make an offer.
I'm president of Early American History Auctions. I'm an expert in early American history, currency, Americana, autographs, and colonial historical items. So, Rick, what are your concerns about this piece?
Quite frankly, I just know nothing about it. I mean, I have no idea what it's worth, where it's from, anything like that.
Well, this is what's called a George Washington funeral medal. They had these medals made in 1800, right after he died, and people would wear these, actually. You notice there's a small hole here, Rick?
Yeah.
It was made to have a hole because people would then put a string or a ribbon through it and then wear it in commemoration.
That makes perfect sense. As news spread of Washington's death, cities and towns all across the country held memorial services. He was that loved by the people, and he still is.
My concerns is it that old, or is it a reproduction of one that was made back in that day?
Well, it's good for you to question that because it almost looks brand new.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of luster and shine and brilliance to it. It's really near mint state as far as I could tell. And there's just a little bit of wear on the coin itself. In my opinion, this is absolutely righteous. It's totally legitimate, it's authentic, it's in great condition. I'm very familiar with this metal. I've handled a number over the last 30 years, so I knew that it was absolutely authentic. This is one of the most historic and earliest medals about the funeral of George Washington. It's really a great piece.
So, Dino, what is it worth?
Well, in this quality, I think that I would put an estimate range of somewhere in the $4,000 to $5,000
Really?
category.
That's awesome.
Thanks a lot, Dana. Really appreciate it.
Well, you're very welcome.
Thanks, Dino.
Now that I know how special this coin really is, I want it even more. But me and the old man have to get it for the right price.
So what do you want to do with this guy? You want to sell it? You want to pawn it? You want to borrow some money against it? What you trying to do?
I'd like to sell it.
What do you want for it?
Well, he said it was worth 4,000 to 5,000, so I was thinking 4.
No.
Not only no, but hell no. That ain't gonna work. I'll be honest with you. I'll give you $2,000 for it. I don't want to go no higher on this.
Okay.
So you got $2,000.
$2,000?
$2,000. And I think that's a fair price.
About 2,500.
How about 15?
God, I love you, Dad.
Of course you do. Everybody does.
2,500 is a fair price.
Thanks.
Okay. All right, let's go do some paperwork.
All right. I settled for 2,500. It's a great deal. I was expecting $200 to $300. I'm psyched.
Okay. Well, aloha. So what do we have here?
2 mid-century tikis.
All right. What's the story?
Well, I lived at a place called Polynesian Village. They destroyed the place 20 years ago. And I said, you can't throw these things away. So I had a guy restore them for me, and it's time to part ways.
So these things were really cool right after World War II when Hawaii was becoming a state.
Yeah.
But they're not cool anymore. They're not done by a famous artist. They are not done very well, and no one's gonna wanna put these in their house. I'm sorry, but they're just sort of like a hell no.
Okay.
All right, have a nice day. Thanks for bringing them in. Sort of was a fun part of my evening.
Well, everybody has different tastes. I'm gonna be putting them into storage, and maybe when I'm ready to sell them, they'll be back in style.
What do we have here?
Well, it's an old mixer, like a drink mixer.
Okay.
It looks like overkill to mix a drink.
Well, you know, it just depends on how much you're into drinking.
I'm coming down to the pawn shop today to sell my antique drink mixer. The reason I want to sell it today is I really don't have any use for it. I've never tried to use it, but I'm hoping maybe we can mix a drink in the back today when the deal's done.
Where did you get it?
At a garage sale.
Okay. It's probably from the 20s.
Okay.
Let's see a patent on it or a manufacturer. Do you know how the mixed drink came about?
No, not really.
Okay, it was because of Prohibition, because the alcohol was so nasty and disgusting that you basically had to mix it with something to get it down. Bathtub gin doesn't taste great. On January 1st, 1920, it became illegal to sell or manufacture alcohol in the United States. So people started drinking cheap homemade booze known as bathtub gin. The alcohol tasted so nasty, they had to mix it with anything so they could get it down their throat. I imagine this probably was put in a bar to liven things up and make everything a little bit cooler. You always need a gimmick in a bar. You always need to keep it fresh. Otherwise, it just turns into a dive.
Check, please. This is really super power. I mean, you can mix a lot of things in it. I mean, put concrete in it, you can make cement.
So you got the other glass?
No, and I don't think this is the original glass. I think it broke somewhere.
Yeah, there's definitely a market for Prohibition-Era cocktail stuff. But this thing is more of a curiosity than a vintage collectible. And it's a ways from being in mint condition. I like it, but I can't pay a lot for it. All right, what do you want to do with it?
Well, I want to sell it.
Okay. How much you want for it?
$350?
Hell no.
Yeah, there's no way you're gonna get $350 out of it. I mean, I might consider it if the thing looked semi-new, but it looks terrible.
You know, it's 90 years old. It really works well.
You know, things like this have a tendency to sit. It's gonna be a tough sell. I mean, who exactly buys one of these things? You know, I'll give you $100 for the thing.
125?
75.
He's just mean and grumpy. Yeah, I'll do 125.
Okay, I'll take it.
All right.
Thank
cool.
you.
Let's go write it up.
Spending my money again.
I settled on $125, and I think it's a little bit more than I was expecting to get, so I'm real happy. I think I'm gonna go out and have a nice meal.
So what do we have here?
An Edison-Era X-ray machine.
Okay. Do you know where the term X-ray came from?
Not exactly sure.
The reason why it was X-rays is because suddenly they realized these rays were coming out and they had no idea what they were. They just called them X-rays.
I have an antique X-ray machine. I collect interesting things to remake, rebuild, and reinvent, and I thought it might have some value. If I'm able to make a sale, I will put it towards buying a plasma cutter. I like to work with metal.
That's really cool. So where did you get this thing?
It was found by a friend in a shed, packed full of stuff. So it probably was stored for decades.
Do you know much about it?
I know a little bit,
Okay.
but not a lot.
So the guy who invented X-rays, his name was Röntgen. He was the first guy ever to get a Nobel Prize in physics.
Okay.
He was a really famous professor. He had tons of experiments, electrical experiments, and eventually he figured out a process to get a good X-ray on a human being, which was just a massive medical advance. This thing sort of solved a lot of problems. A lot of different things they used it for. Not only for medicine, but for metallurgy. During World War II, some of these planes, they could X-ray the welds, make sure everything was done right, plus a lot of different scientific experiments and things like that. They were X-raying mummies, so they could see what's inside the mummies.
Woohoo!
And so, is this all you have of it?
This is all I have of it.
Okay, what do we got here, right here? All right, so General Electric X-ray Corporation didn't start until the 1930s. This is probably 1940s, World War II-ish. By that time,
Okay.
they knew the X-rays weren't good for you. And you don't have the main part.
I don't have the main part that probably took
Okay,
the
you don't have the
actual
giant
X-ray.
X-ray tube, the CRT.
No, do not.
It's a cathode ray tube, which is sort of crazy because your TV back in the day, you know, the big box TVs, those were cathode ray tubes, but they just had phosphorus in there that caught all the electrons. But if you took that off, you had an X-ray machine. If you take the phosphorus away, you just have X-rays blasting in your face.
Okay.
This is interesting. The problem is you don't have all the parts.
Yeah, I know.
How much did you want for it?
I was looking to get 1,200.
Okay. A lot of people buy these for the tubes and the parts. The most expensive part is the X-ray tube.
That's not here.
That's not here. And basically, since you don't have it all here and you don't have the very most expensive part, it's basically worthless. Put it on the internet for sale, start it at an auction at zero, and be happy for everything you get. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
X-rays are kind of cool. The machine would be kind of cool if it had all the parts. It doesn't have the main part. So not only is it no, it's basically just hell no. What do we have here?
A 1960s, I believe, sports championship ice bucket.
Okay. Well, it's definitely late 50s, early 60s modern. I'm assuming this is from probably 1962 or 1961 because that's where all the champions are on this thing.
I mean, it's got some incredible names on there. The Yankees, when they were having their tremendous run in baseball. Citation is on here from the horse racing, which is, of course, a Triple Crown winner. So I think it appeals to a lot of people.
Okay. All right. I'm going to be completely honest with you. It appeals to nobody. I mean, all I can say is it's hideous. It's zero collectability. I'm just surprised someone hasn't thrown it away.
So you don't think somebody that collected, like a Yankees fan, with like 1950s huge run?
When you want to get something like a 1950s baseball or just a pennant.
You could have an ice bucket.
Dude, I mean, thanks for bringing it in. There's no way in hell I would ever buy this.
All right, thank you.
It's like I always say, just because it's old doesn't mean it's worth money. I don't know why he thought it was worth money, but it's just one of those hell no moments. What do we got here?
We got a couple stained glass windows that came from the Boulder Station Casino.
Okay. I'm pretty sure it's the Romans that figured out how to stain glass. And it's really funny, too, because in the Roman Empire, the second they learned how to make green glass and blue glass, suddenly there was emeralds and sapphires all over the Roman Empire.
I'm here today to sell my stained glass windows that came from the Boulder Station Casino. I'm hoping to get $10,000 because they're historical and I can't put them in my apartment.
Okay, pretty interesting. They figured out how to make glass like right around 4,000 years ago, right around Egypt. Basically, there's certain sands that if you melt them down, the sand turns into a liquid, and they were able to cast it. And they would make very simple glass forms. And then The Romans actually learned how to stain glass, probably like the 6th, 7th century. It became a big deal with Christian churches. And then in the late 1800s, the Victorian era, this was all the rage. If you had a house, you had to have a stained glass window. I mean, it was like the most important thing in the house. And then it kind of fell out of favor. So this was from Boulder Station Casino?
Right.
Okay. Being from that casino, I mean, it's not a historically significant building or anything. I mean, it might help a little bit if it was from like the El Rancho, one of the first ones on the Strip, or the Flamingo, but one of the big problems with stained glass, it's a window. So when someone buys it, they have to have a window that fits it. I mean, exactly. And that's why I don't want these things at all. They're next to impossible to sell. How much were you going to ask for it?
I was going to ask 10,000.
Okay. All I can say, man, is good luck with them.
All
Okay?
right. Thank you.
Things like that aren't just no, it's a hell no.